Hey guys, Donny here with the Helmet crew on 2/11/2020 Global Crisis Solutions. This morning I woke up and started studying Jane Goodall's documentary on the chimpanzees in 1960. She says to observe the chimp in the wild is to observe the development of human evolution. In 1960, Miss Jane Goodall arrived in Tanzania. Orson Welles did the narration on this documentary. It's on YouTube, guys. I knew my task was not going to be easy, Jane says. Few attempts to research have been successful because of the isolation that the chimps have in Tanzania. Jane was determined to find the chimps. Armed with binoculars alone, she researched, and 2 months later she finally found a tuft of hair. 1,500 feet higher, she had to change her focal point. They make their beds several hours before dusk. She made little progress in 2 months getting close to the chimps, but when she did, this was one of the first observations. They would make branches like a hammock up in the trees up here. In the hammock, they would sleep in it after eating really healthy vegetation in their diet every day. They would rest up in the canopy of the trees. She made little progress, Jane, in 2 months, getting close to the chimps. She said she wasn't a defeatist, so it only made her desire to succeed stronger. To be amongst and study animals in the wild was her unrelenting desire. She learns they travel 10 miles a day. They are meticulous about appearance and spend hours a day grooming each other. So they, within society, they're always grooming as a way of bonding and showing that they fit into this society, just grooming themselves and being presentable to the chimp society. And the females are promiscuous, sharing mates, within the groups. So Jane's determination superseded the harsh living condition. When it started raining in December for 4 months every single day, the chimps sit in the rain and they seem really depressed and down, and they don't know what to do, and then it stops raining and they play again, and it's interesting how they interacted with the rain. The chimps sit in the rain and it seems to drive them a bit mad. Jane discovered the chimps in a certain area also making tools out of leaves and crumpling them up like sponges to get water, and it just shows that their evolution is similar to us. We thought for so long that we were the only higher intelligence that could make tools when these chimps have been doing it for centuries. Jane gets closer and closer to the chimps in this rainy season. So, she travels around and with these chimps and observes their behavior, and some of the comments that she made I wasn't really congruent with in this documentary, because she would call Flo, the mother of the child, ugly, and that would be her word to describe this chimp. And I thought, she could have come up with a lot more professional ways to describe this chimp. And then the baby, she said, yeah, and in a few years the baby's gonna be ugly too, and who was Fifi was the baby. And Jane said she will be no beauty in a few years' time either. It's like some of these comments I thought were unnecessary, and even George Orwell made an unnecessary comment at one point, saying that their language was not a real language, and I quote, literally he said that, and I thought that was unnecessary. But Jane Goodall opened up the door for the current researchers to have a perspective and to elaborate on. Jane brought a huge amount of imported bananas, which I also disagree with, and fed all these chimps, and they were just hoarding them up trees and dropping them and eating them. And I understand her empathy, but the possibility of cross contamination, and we wouldn't do that nowadays with the researchers. And also, the chimps have to go back to their native vegetation after they ate a bunch of bananas. I don't agree with this because they have to go back to these native plants, and this could have caused cross-contamination. Okay, so I just said that. I think the words Jane uses to describe these chimps could be a reflection of the prejudice of human civilization. When you're not sensitive to your words and your audiences, and, you know, um, we found that electrons react to observation. They disappear and they reappear into reality, but why when observing these beautiful creatures would you project something like ugly or it's not real language? So there was a lot of things I disagreed, but I felt like it was an essential thing to study. um, I was hoping to learn of the habits of chimps, but not our personal prejudice on what we observe and evaluate. The chimpanzees, if we remember, have 98.6% of our DNA, and we only have 2.4% human. Let's learn about the similarities and not have prejudicial bias when describing them. This is what creates bias in human society. So, we need to really be sensitive to the words that we choose, guys, because it can go out there and affect the way other species react to us. In my opinion, they're very intuitive, and I think that's yet to be learned. But loving you guys, and thanks for watching.